I'm Don. It's late. I'm up. Hi. How are you guys tonight? I'm back once again to watch another movie and talk over the top of it. We'll discuss it, we'll analyze it, we'll think about all aspects of it from the macro to the micro, but mainly we'll just hang out and talk with the chat. So, welcome. Nice to have you here. If you've never joined me before, and according to the analytics, there's a good chance you haven't. Welcome. My name is Don. I'm the host of the show. The real entertainment is going to be from my friends in the chat and the movie I'm watching. The movie I'm watching tonight is Tron from 1982. Guy gets caught in a video game, kind of the predecessor to The Matrix. It also has a little bit of a reminder of this movie called Nightmares with Emilio Estevez, where he gets trapped in a video game. Um, this one's a way ahead of its time, early CGI, early Disney computer animation, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, hey, my friends are already starting to fill into the chat. So, anyways, let's move on with the proceedings and get to watch this. I'll be watching Tron on Hulu tonight or Disney Plus, I believe actually it is. It all gets so confusing. Is Hulu even a thing anymore? I heard Disney was canceling it. It was just becoming part of Disney Plus. I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, I'm going to be watching it on that streaming service megalopolis thing. But yeah, we'll be watching that here in just a moment. Let's say some hi to our friends in the chat. Our friend Patrick is here. Hoot hoot. Welcome, Patrick. Bring the owl and the sloppy hand hearts. Yeah. Nice to see you here, my friend Patrick. Actually, there's a guy in this movie that kind of reminds me a little bit of Patrick. What's his name? The guy who's like kind of the smart one of their gang, Bernard Hughes as Dr. Walter Gibbs. He's got a little Patrick to him. I like it. Um, our friend Anthony Chabot is here. Yo, buddy, how are you? Welcome. Are you? Where are you on your memoirs there, Anthony? Tron. Yes, exactly. Tron. I'm going to see A Long Walk tomorrow. Next up is him. Well, whoever he is, he's in trouble. But yeah, I would like to see The Long Walk as well. I hear really good things about it. It kind of came out of nowhere. It wasn't like all year long I kept hearing the big movie is going to be The Long Walk, but the folks who have seen it are just raving about it. So it will definitely be on my to-do list. Um, Patrick says, The Wizard of Battle. There we go. How are you, Patty? Yo! Um, 2 months since I last prayed on that is a sad situation, Anthony. I'm glad you are here. I appreciate you overcoming that. 2015, you were on in the memoirs. Okay, good. I was on earlier. Well, I was hanging out earlier with Mr. Bones, our friend on the Boneyard, in their chat, and they were discussing how far you had gotten on that. I had missed that portion of the show, so I'm glad to hear it's going well, my friend. David Warner, so great as Jack the Ripper in Time After Time. Yeah, David Warner in general is always awesome. He's one of those that guy actors. Like if you're really into movies, you recognize David Warner right away. Otherwise, you're like, I've seen this dude before. Um, oh wow. So yeah, I'm gonna get started on this film right here, and we're gonna check it out. This one's kind of an amazing one as far as visually. I'd seen it when as a kid when I was in the theater when it first came out because it was a big deal. They had like a video game tie-in, the stand-up machine where you could play the light cycle game and the frisbee top memory disc game, whatever you want to call it, and um, the fight the spiders, right? And then I don't remember the other ones. It's kind of a breakout type thing. You know, you bust the blocks and get through. I think, but yeah, I always dug Tron. The movie itself is very weird, way, way, way ahead of its time. I think that's why it kind of suffered. It never became the big blockbuster at the theater that it was supposed to be. But then when it was on home video, it found like a cult following. You know, it's kind of a weird one. Like I say, way ahead of its time. It influences The Matrix and a bunch of other things that come after. Um, let's see here. Didn't he lose his head to Damien? Yes, he did. Nice. I'm watching a good Omen reference. I'm watching Alien Earth. Alien Earth is fantastic. Yeah, I've been watching it too. I haven't watched a show week to week in years. Like everything now is, dropped in big bundles, or maybe they come out and you just wait for them all to get done. Like HBO shows, they come out week to week, and then when they're finished, you check them out. Alien Earth is one of the shows I've in a long, long time, maybe since I dropped out on Walking Dead or Game of Thrones wrapped up or something. It's been a minute. Um, Patrick says they are doing Tron Ares. Yes, that comes out later this year. That's part of the reason I wanted to do this stream. This one's always been on my list. I kind of have like a list of movies I'd like to watch with you guys, and Tron was been on it for a while. But since Tron Ares is coming out, I was like, let's get a early jump on talking about this bad boy, shall we? Um, there was a sequel after this, Tron Legacy, and then after that, the new one, the Tron Ares. So I can't believe Tron has become a franchise. Like I say, it was pretty much as a kid, it was sort of a bust, and then it became a home video cult classic kind of thing. My relationship with it, and I saw it at the theater, but I also remember Disney Channel used to have free weekends, like back when cable was a big thing. The cable channels would have a free HBO weekend or free Disney weekend, and free Disney weekend was all about Tron and Something Wicked This Way Comes. Like, I don't want to watch this stuff during the day with Mickey Mouse or whatever, but the nighttime, the good stuff, yeah, I would watch it over and over again. I also rented this a handful of times. This is a really awesome HD transfer. I've seen this so many times on VHS. I feel like it just lives in 480p. So to see a nice copy on Disney Channel like this with the clear effects and the color is very bright and pops. We'll talk about the whole thing as we go. But yeah, I'm going to get started on this here. Um, let's see here. Anthony says he hasn't been feeling well. I was like, well, I hope you feel better, my friend. And he also says it's almost spooky season. It is almost spooky season. I love spooky season. I had Chinese food and ice cream for my birthday. That's a good birthday. I love me some Chinese food. You need Chinese food, Anthony, right? Everybody needs Chinese food. Although my Chinese food, I like sweet and sour chicken and like the barbecued pork and stuff. So my Chinese food is very Anglo. Let's get this started here on Disney. Where is, let's go to restart. Some of this movie's bizarre. I have it playing right now, but I'm going to restart it while we watch it. I had it on while I was setting up this tremendous lighting system I have and whatnot. All right, restart. So yeah, we're going to ahead and press play on Tron right now for those of you trying to sync up and watch along. Oh, hey, here's commercials for spooky season right from Jump. It's so weird. I have the Disney Plus with ads, but the ads are few and far between. This one's only a minute. So while we're waiting for Tron to get started and for that awesome soundtrack, that's another thing about this. Really cool, like kind of 8-bit funky orchestral soundtrack kind of thing. I dig it. I need, can somebody get me some Chinese food? Um, yeah, as I was saying, this movie came out in '82. I find it weird that it's called Tron, or at least when I was a kid, I found it was weird that it's called Tron, because the hero of the movie is Flynn. He's played by the dude, Jeff Bridges, El Dudorino, if you're not into the whole brevity thing. Um, sorry, I get distracted by my own Lebowski humor. So the fact that Jeff Bridges is the star of the movie, and then the movie's named after the second guy, Tron, which is a program he created. But let's be honest, the only reason it's called Tron is because that's way cooler sounding than Flynn. Flynn Ares, Flynn Legacy, Tron lets you know right away we're in some computer stuff. Speaking of computer stuff, I was looking up about the CGI in this because I don't understand why Jurassic Park gets sort of the big hype as being the first CGI movie. That's what everybody thinks of as like the first example of CGI. This movie, a bunch of the animators for Disney refused to work on it because of the computers that were involved in making it, and they thought it was going to put them out of business. And what do you know, like 20 years after this came out, well, probably 30, 40 years after it came out, Disney completely shut down its hand animation department now. Like it's all CGI. So those people 40 years ago or whatever, they knew that this was going to happen. All right, here we're starting. We're getting the cool space effects and flying around. I put this on the other day for my baby. She's 10 months old. Actually, she's getting ready to be 11 months old. And I thought the bright colors and like the happy sounds and everything would kind of just like mesmerize her and make her chill out. And she loved it. She just sat there quietly trying to figure out what the hell was going on. Um, and as I had it on in the background and looking at it, I noticed it looks so good. Like it's a really pretty movie. I never noticed, as I said, I watched it on VHS or on old school cable most of my life. So now to see it like this and, glorious 1080p, um, it just looks like you can see so much more of the detail and the weird effects that they use. They really use black and white well in this, and as well as like kind of these neon color outlines and um, oh, sorry, there's a light cycle scene. We get to see the Tron video game, and then we see the light cycles racing against each other. If you're not familiar with this movie, the light cycles, they leave a little trail behind them. So the whole point of racing is to try to cut the other guy off into the wall that you make. So when I was a kid, I had a Tron light cycle. I think I had a couple. I think I had the red one and the blue one. So Flynn's and Tron's. And they didn't leave the trail behind, but they had one of those little like pulley zip dealies that they have, where it's like uh, um, you stick like a long strip that has like a bunch of ridges on it into the back of it, and you pull it out, and it makes the big go, and it takes off. So it was one of the few toys that would like actually run on its own. GI Joe or Star Wars, whatever you had to push along, but this you could kind of zip. Um, but I also had a Tron and Flynn, and I always forget the woman's name. Sorry, that's very sexist of me. She is Cindy Morgan is Laura. Also, it's weird that Bruce Boxleitner is in this. Like he's got this like famous name because it's so bizarre, but he's not that big of a star like to be the titular character. The movie, like I said, is more about Flynn, the Jeff Bridges character, and the plot itself is relatively simple. This video game designer gets booted out by this big company, this corporation that's kind of taken everything over, and they've got secret plans of using computers to, this master computer program is trying to absorb all the other programs floating around, and then become like super all powerful. So the beginning of Skynet kind of deal. Hey, there's Tron. Um, like I said, this movie's way, way, way ahead of its time. Um, we were talking about how the computer programmer in the MCU is trying to capture up all these the master control unit, not the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Uh, the master control unit is trying to absorb all these other programs and become all powerful. So back in '82, no one knew what RAM and ROM and all these like basic ass computer terms were. So these computer programs, like it kind of went over a lot of people's heads. Here we see Tron, the security program, and he's talking to, I think this is like a tax audit program. So it's just a guy in a weird sort of neon rave suit. Everything's all bright neon colors and everything, and the faces and all the rest are black and white. It's super noir, but it's also futuristic. I think a good double feature might be this and Robert Rodriguez's Sin City, or this in The Matrix. So um, but yeah, the computer programs all have different things. So there's a program that's in charge of taxes and whatnot, but the master control unit is making them fight in video games. So it's kind of this trippy idea where the video games you play in real life are actually little tiny gladiators inside the computer fighting it out. Um, oh, here's the cool tank scene. uh, these little tanks drive around. They're real futuristic looking. They kind of have this, awesome hum. The soundtrack, the score, everything, the sound effects in this is fantastic. So, this tank goes humming by, and there we get to see the Flynn program, or the early Flynn program. Yeah, sorry, I'm caught up by how like the special effects and everything are very Star Wars. I think that's what they were thinking they were going to pull off, like the same way James Cameron thought he could do sort of take the Abyss and make it like the new whatever. Instead of going into outer space, let's go to the water, someplace different. So instead of outer space, these guys go inside a computer. Right? Something different and funky. Let's see here. Patrick says they're making Bruce a star. He actually had a very nice career. Well, let's check that out. I know his name, but I always think of him from TV, so that's why I figure he was mostly kind of a big TV star. 143 acting credits, so nothing to sneeze at. All sorts of TV movies, TV series. A Gettysburg Christmas. My dearest Emma, war on Christmas is hell. Today I saw three elves murdered with one menorah. Um, Babylon 5, The Road Home. Oh, that's right, Babylon 5. There you go. And he was in a couple episodes of The Orville. So he's got that sci-fi appeal to old Bruce Boxleitner. Lots of TV movies. Supergirl as the president. Nice for him. Wedding Bells, Cedar Cove, Tron Uprising, the TV series? Oh, that's right. I do remember they made an animated series. Completely forgot about it till this second. Tron Evolution, the video game, Tron Legacy, which we mentioned before, Tron Evolution Battle Grids. I didn't realize they made so many damn Tron video games. After that stand-up machine you used to play in the old school arcade, I thought we were done. Um, Legion of the Dead, whole bunch of TV. Tron 2.0 video game. I think that one might have been like for the PC. Perilous, Babylon 5, lots of Babylon 5. Wyatt Earp, Double Jeopardy. Tales from the Crypt. We'll tap out on that one. But yeah, I don't know. I find in general his career is mainly TV. He's just more of a name than he is actually a giant big star like I thought maybe Disney thought he would be. Um, yeah, or sorry, not Bruce Boxleitner is Alan Bradley, and him and Flynn and all these folks are in this computer, and they fight their way out to overcome the master control unit. Ah, here's the bad guy guards, real stormtrooper-ish. I had one of these action figures as well. The action figures are super cool. They're made out of clear plastic, or whatever, colored clear plastic. So when you held them up to the light, you kind of see through them. Um, so here's Flynn getting are the Jeff Bridges first version of his program that's been snooping around trying to figure out what master control unit's up to, and he's getting tortured. And for a family movie, there is so much death, dismemberment, and torture in this. Like that's one of the things that throws me off about it is it's pretty violent, man. Um, Rated PG, so we'll keep an eye on deaths. So there's one death. And the animation of the what de-digitization? I don't know. He's a living thing, and then they break him down to pixels. And now we cut back to the real world, and here's an awesome shot of this. Like the David Warner character has the like light up helicopter, and like black light tape is on it almost. So when they it sort of looks like it's in a video game, even though it's in real, IRL, bro. And there's the NCOM. We see him landing on the roof. Also, it's got the crazy neon lights and stuff. This movie's real, lots of early techno effects. The whole thing looks like a damn rave. And here's Warner walking through the office. I like that. Sorry, let me get the cast back up. I like how it starts off firmly in the real world, so you get a grasp of okay, this is reality and this is what's in the game. So there's a distinct look to each thing. And I find his office looks a lot like Nakatomi Plaza, but way futuristic early stuff here where he's got like this glass top desk that's got a type up computer keyboard that pops up, and way futuristic early advancement stuff. The way Star Trek influenced a lot of future technology, I think this movie also had a little pinch of influencing the future nerds to make things that we have now. Let's see here. Yeah, he's doing a lot of TV. A fun special called Scarecrow and Mrs. King. Oh, I do remember Scarecrow and Mrs. King. What was the budget? Oh, thank you for asking. It was a 17 million. This one I memorized because I looked earlier. 17 million, which back then that's a huge budget. But at the box office, I think it made what 22 or something like that. Um, or 32, I mean. So it barely, it was right around half its money or double its money. So it wasn't a critical, like it wasn't a success at the box office or whatever. It got a little critical acclaim here and there, but it wasn't until home video that it really found an audience. And they claim that after it was released on home media, it made an additional roughly 77 million. I mean, that's internet numbers. So yeah, not that big as far as the box office, but this is around the same time that ET came out. Well, ET was still dominating around this time, and things like The Thing came and went against ET. That was a monster. It's amazing more folks don't talk about ET for the classic it was at the time. That was a juggernaut. It was up there with Jaws and Star Wars and those other blockbusters. So yeah, this is another movie that got trampled by that adorable little Reese's Pieces eating alien. So this early stuff is just sort of corporate espionage jazz. David Warner's this evil corporate guy, this nerd who works for him, sort of getting suspicious when he gets an inkling that something's not right. He goes and finds the old computer programmer that they fired, the dude. But anyways, my friend Ben Grimm is here. Welcome, Ben Grimm. Ben's always smart and knowledgeable. I enjoy talking movies with him. He's one of my favorite people to pop up in the chat. So be sure to give a subscribe to my friend Ben, or at least say hi in the chat or the comments. Ben's awesome. The Gambler films with Kenny Rogers. I saw that in his list of IMDb stuff there. Those movies I barely remember, and let's be honest, nobody overshadows Kenny Rogers. Even Dolly Parton had to kind of fall equal, and nobody overshadows Dolly. So Kenny's the man. Actually, Bruce Buckler had lots of good advice and things to say. Um, yeah, I don't know. In this movie, this is the only thing I think of him in. When I went through the other stuff and looked at the other things, Babylon 5 is the only other one that really jumps out at me. And anyways, welcome, Acres of Movies. Nice to see you. It's always cool to see Michelle Pfeiffer's avatar pop up there. Yeah, so not random, we're doing the real world thing. And even in 82, things very, I don't know, they look futuristic and clean. I like it. It looks like the deck of Star Trek Next Generation or something. Shadows in Paradise. I'm not familiar with that one. Let's see what Shadows is up to. 2016. Documents the movie metaphors found the death and founder of Ramesh Yogi? That can't be the same one. Shadows of Paradise 86, I bet, is what we're talking about, right? No, that's Japanese. I'm confused. But I'm frequently confused. Look at me. Um, so now here we see the tech stuff. They go down to, before we were up in the top floor of the building, we could oversee the entire city and everything. Now we're down in like the gritty catwalks and metal steps and everything, and we get the basic idea of how we're going to end up in a video game. They kind of just steal the plot from Star Trek. Like this laser blasts something and then it breaks it down into little tiny pieces and then it puts it back together somewhere else. It's like an early transporter kind of thing, computer teleportation, but instead it puts stuff into the computer instead of somewhere else. Here we see, as we were talking about earlier, my man Bernard Hughes, Dr. Walter Gibbs. Uh, Reminds me a lot of my friend Patrick. Speaking of my friend Patrick, be sure to check out Have Cheetah Will View's channel. This past week, he's been putting out fun content. I stopped in and said hello to a live stream he had the other day, and he's always got awesome interviews. And his past catalog is well worth subscribing for. But the future is always great for Patrick. So make sure you're subscribing. You don't miss anything that he does. He's a cool guy with a lot of cool people he talks to, and also tons of haul videos. At least it used to be. Have you been hitting up the library as much, Patrick? Mm, no, sorry, wrong title. Oh, okay. It's some movie with he and Armand Asante from the 2000s. I also remember from Cuffs. That is underrated. Is that the Christian Slater or Christian Slater? Yeah. I think that's who it is. Is that Cuffs or is that James Belushi? Jim's Belushi. Um, let's look and see. Bruce Boxlight, early 2000s with Armand Asante. So yeah, here we're getting to the basics of the story up and running. The movie really gets going in the second act when everybody's in the computer. That's more when the show starts and we see the gladiator fights and everything. They have like this cool like version of highlight they play where like they stand on circle grids and you throw the ball at each other, and if you don't catch it, the ball hits the ground and disappears part of the ground, so eventually you fall off. Once again, lots of death, dismemberment, and crazy, wild gladiator type violence for a video game movie. Yeah. Gods and Generals, Perfect Nanny, Life in Balance, Perilous, Free Fall, Babylon 5. Yeah, lots of Babylon 5 around 2000. Gambler 5. There were 5 Gambler movies? Kenny Rogers got paid. He knows when to hold them and when to fold them. He knows when to walk away and when to run. He was in a movie called Contagion that I believe I saw in 2002. Hope Ranch, Tron 2, She Spies. So, Bruce Boxleitner, you get around, my friend. Um, Amazingly, this, like I say, I every time I look up, I think of this movie in the old school way, like, well, it's cool, but with this modern transfer in the 1080p, you can see their original idea of what the heck they thought, uh, what they wanted it to look like, I should say. Um, the computer they used to make this, where was it? I even screenshotted it because it kind of blew my mind. The computer they used to make this, the CGI that made the animators tap out and quit. Um, First of all, because of um, the CGI used in it, this movie never got nominated for an Academy Award for animation because the Academy felt like that was cheating to use computer graphics. And back then, the computer graphics where you had to go frame by frame and do stuff. There weren't programs that put together scenes and stuff. Screenshots. Uh, Academy effects were cheating. The computers filmed key special effects. So the computer they used to make the special effects in the movie, 2 megabytes. Powerful. And it had 330 megabytes of storage. So I don't even know how they made this, right? Like I don't think I could do anything with that amount of energy. I've used more gigabytes than that since we've been talking here. Now we're at Flynn's Arcade. And this is one of the reasons that made the movie. I think that's what they were hoping is it would pull people in because the video game craze was just taking off. Pac-Man and Donkey Kong and Centipede and all the biggies from the stand-up arcade. And here's Jeff Bridges as the computer video game stand-up console game master. Like he's playing and everybody just gathered around him. He's like the Who's Tommy, except with video games. Oh, let's see here. Thanks. A fun live stream. Teacher would play Tron in school, and when it rained, I've seen this movie so much, it's great. Yeah, that's why I say I haven't. I think I've only seen it a couple times since it came out. I have it on DVD because that was one of the first things when DVD came out. I was like, oh, let's check out Tron. But even then, that presentation compared to this isn't as bright and colorful and well shot. Like the other day watching this, I noticed it was like this is actually a really well photographed movie. It's uh, almost got like a Ridley Scott style, lots of neon, David Fincher type, sharp contrasts, good crush the blacks, as they say. You turn the highlights in the mid range down, you turn the contrast up. Shout out to my coloring nerds out there. Gotti with Armand Asante is the best mob film. And welcome, Russell. Russell, how many times you seen Tron? Is this one of your favorites? Hello, everyone. Hello, Nanette. Welcome. Drag y'all asses down to Nanette's Halloween special when it occurs. I am. Didn't like Tron until later on. Yeah, it's actually, this is funny. When I was a little kid, when this came out, I was 6 or 7 or some crap. And I wanted to see this so bad. I was like, a movie based off a video game. I didn't understand that the video game was actually used to promote the movie. And I was like, I got to see this. And I remember seeing it in the theater. My parents took me, and my dad said that this was the worst movie he'd ever seen in his entire life. Even until he passed away, he still claimed Tron was like the worst movie. So, shout out to Pops. He's a wonderful guy, but he just all this RAM, ROM, digitization, CGI effect stuff, a little over his time, a little over his head there. Um, but yeah, so I often think of this as my Pop's least favorite movie of all time. Apparently, conversely, though, it was former vice president and man bear pig enthusiast Al Gore's favorite movie. So I remember that when they were interviewing him when he was running for president. What's your favorite movie? Tron. It's like, oh, go courting the nerd vote. I dig it. Um, so here they go see Flynn, and Flynn's like the coolest guy in this movie. I remember as a little kid thinking that's the way to live. He lives above his own video game his own arcade. So like, upstairs like this real swanky kind of like half 80s, half 70s bachelor pad where he's got like a couch on the floor with big pillows and you know, very very cool for a man of the era. One of the things, I don't know, the newer Tron, the Legacy, a lot of people love that. I know my friend, the horror cat dad, is a big fan of that one. Um, I didn't enjoy it as much because it felt too slick. It's almost like this inspired the Matrix, and then the Matrix's success ended up causing them to make more Tron. It's like, well, there's money to be mined here in this. And I felt like the newer Tron stuff, and even the stuff for Tron Ares, looks very like, I don't know, clean, polished computer stuff. This has a little bit of grit to it. The characters when they're in the computer program, there it's a black and white, and it's like a very grainy, and they sort of pulsate the I don't know, the frequency, I don't even know what the word to use for that. The enhance the saturation and the I can't think of what the word would be, but yeah, there's a pulse to it, almost like an old school TV that's got just a slight little with the each character, and then when they die, they light up and go dark. There's a bunch of apparent mistakes in this, and a few things I wanted to keep an eye out for. I guess there are two or three times, I think three, where they use the same exact shot of Tron. Like they just flip it, or they use it on a different side. That's the beauty of early chroma key. Um, and Nanette says hello, everyone, again. Or actually, I just wanted to say hello to Nanette again. He didn't like Tron until later on. Also, it was great to know Cindy Morgan. She was independent but had some health issues, and found a couple of days she had died. I needed a nurse, maybe lived her about the hospital. Yeah, that's sad. Um, yeah, I was curious about Cindy Morgan. I mean, she's very pretty in this movie, and she kind of steals the scenes she's in. Well, yeah, when you bring her up on IMDb, the Tron is the biggest thing they got for her. She had 37 acting credits, lots of TVs and shorts. She also was in on doing those voices for the Tron video games. Uh, yeah, tons of TV. Hunter. Shout out to Hunter. Tron, Chips, Vegas. Oh crap, she's Lacey Underall from Caddyshack. That's why. Okay, now it all comes together. Got you. Okay, no wonder I feel like when I was looking at her, I'm like, she's very pretty. I'm surprised she didn't have a bigger career. She's a good actress and stuff. She's Lacey Underall from Caddyshack. The biggest horror on Fifth Avenue, or so I'm told. Sorry, that's one of the few Caddyshack impersonations I do, impressions. That and, hey, Wang, what are you taking pictures for? It's a parking lot. Sorry, I love Rodney Dangerfield. John Travolta's Gotti sucked. Yeah, I wanted to see that one. I've heard that's notoriously awful. Like the Armando Santi Gotti, that one's a good one as far as it goes. It's just because Armando Santi is a cool, that guy's awesome. Everything he's in, I'm a big fan of. But well, most things he's in, I'm a big fan of. Um, but yeah, that Travolta one specifically because he's got like the weird makeup, and I think maybe he had some, I don't know, dodgy plastic surgery or something. G'day, Big Don in chat. I think you missed the D. Otherwise, I don't know what that is. Uh, uh, I'm a coloring nerd. Oh yeah, me too. If Jeff Rose was the main character, who would you have cast in this? I don't know. At this time, I mean, you could go Kurt Russell, 81. I mean, I suppose you could go Tom Selleck, Mark Hamill. I don't know. Mark Hamill's still a little too much from Star Wars, right? And in 82, so they shot it in 81. I think that was after Hamill had his car accident, so he might not have we might have to take him off the chessboard on that. Um who else in 81 that was big? Mm, how about the guy who played Herb Tarlick from WKRP in Cincinnati? Uh, Oh, Sonny says Gary Busey. That's a lot of teeth for a computer program. Can we digitize that much teeth? Hello, Don again. Thank you, and hello to you again, Nanette. Caddyshack. Yeah, there you go. Acres of movies. Yeah, I never really realized that until now. Because in this, she's got like, well, it's weird. She wears like a hoodie most of the time, or like a computerized hoodie looking thing. And then later on, when they're in the tank, I think she has like a one of the helmets. But yeah, it's just her face. And then here is does she have brown hair? I think when she's in IRL. Hey, what's up? Hello, Chad. Sean, my friend, Cinephile World Order. Welcome, Sean. Be sure to check out my friend Sean's channel. He also is talks about movies and talks over movies and does the commentary gig. But he's also got awesome shats. Congratulations on your shats, Sean. Now he has awesome shorts. So I enjoy your shorts, Sean. Um, that you really find cool movie clips and stuff to have in there. So yeah, be sure to check out Sean and check out his shorts. Loved Caddyshack. Rodney Dangerfield was hilarious. Yeah, Caddyshack's on the list of stuff we need to watch here sometime. A really underrated 90s movie. Nick Nolte, Armand Assani, Timothy Hutton. Well, yeah, I like it. Great, man. No problem. Hello, Sean from the Jen and Sean show. Hi, and thanks for Stacy. What 1980s movies do you want to get a new Blu-ray with special features? There are so many. Um, I often say for most people, they're affectionate towards the movies they saw when they were young, right? Like my two favorite eras of filmmaking happen to be from like when I was 6 years old to 13 years old, and then later on from like 18 to 24. Because the early years, I didn't know anything about anything. So everything was new to me. This is the coolest thing ever. But, I didn't realize it was just a ripoff of something 10 years earlier and stuff. And then once you start learning about how films are made and, the process and script writing to screen to editing and marketing and all of it, um, those movies really are, hit hard. Now, granted, the ones when I was a kid were Jaws, Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, Empire Strikes Back, Indiana Jones, even the stuff into the mid 80s, Goonies and Monster Squad and all of that. And then in the late 90s, the stuff I fell in love with at my later age, Pulp Fiction, Seven, Usual Suspects, those are some awesome all-time movies. So I don't feel too bad about it. But if you meet someone like 10 or 15 years older than me, all their stuff will be like from the 70s. They love French Connection and Serpico and whatever, Dog Day Afternoon, the earlier crazy stuff. Hello, Sean. Wee doggy. Shout out to Jed Clampett. All good, bro. Thanks. Yeah, actually, Sean, I've been meaning to get in with you on a chat. So there's Lacey. No, it's not brown hair. And yeah, you can totally see the way they hit her is she's got the big glasses. She's got the second WKRP reference. She's got the Bailey Summers or Bailey Quarters, whatever. The Bailey from the WKRP glasses. It's like all you need to be a nerd in the early 80s is just some glasses. But once again, she's got a real I don't know, early Google vibe. Like even though she works at this big professional corporation, she's got the jeans and running shoes on. She's got a blazer over a button up. And and my man's goodness, I always forget his real name. Alan Bradley. Alan, we'll just call him. His office, we see his little cubicle where he works, and he's got Gort Klatu Noctubericto, whatever. The was it the day the Earth stood still or whatever? The giant robot, the secret words that shut him off. But those are also the words that make the Necronomicon, I think, in Army of Darkness. Klaatu Verata Nikto. I need to learn how to plug my phone in the wall. I think I'm losing my brain. I don't remember or know how to put it in the wall outlet. Should Tron technology make better chargers that work quicker? I don't know. I'm afraid that if you plug in the one of those like chargers that you set on the phone on, you don't have to plug it in. That if I touch it, I'll end up in Tron. So here's a really cool shot. Actually, they're walking around like I mentioned earlier, in the sort of where the computer tech stuff is done, and it's basically uh, white steel everywhere. All the catwalks, all the steps. It looks very industrial. And it was a cool crane shot that went up from one floor to another to show them walking around within it, sort of the maze. Very Squid Games. So yeah, we're working our way to the end of the first act here, and that's what I've been waiting on. She sneaks Jeff Bridges in to where they're doing the uh, digitization thing or whatever. and she's going to let him use one of the computers so he can get in because the system is locked from the outside. You can't hack the system with the web. You got to hack, or with modems back then. You got to hack the system by getting in the actual physical building. And this is when the sentient computer program realizes this dude's up to no good and zaps him and puts him in the computer, and the story gets rolling. Let's see here. Yeah, there are three close-up shots of Tron that are exactly the same. Um, one of the shots is reversed, so they just use the same clip of him over and over and over again. Shots appear chronologically in Tron at 104, 119, and 120. So we'll keep an eye out for these uh, repeat shots. And Tron also mysteriously disappears into thin air at the 125:17 mark. So yeah, a whole bunch of trivia here about mistakes. At the 123:50 mark, MCP's forehead is missing. According to Richard Taylor, Shaq's brain was a pile of clock parts. Um, one of the things I also dig about this that is oh, there's where Jeff Bridges gets zapped, and it's this really kind of a cool scene. It's mildly scary. He gets completely frozen, and then they break him down. They into the little grid, and you see him, kind of the landscape grid, and they make him disappear grid by grid by grid. And now we go into the computer. This is very much like the Matrix, where you travel through the big tunnel of coaxial cable or whatever. Here we're going into a funky, like real cheesy graphics, but it's pretty damn cool. Like I said, my baby loved all the bright colors and stuff. She was fascinated by it. Um, I also mentioned there was a film with called Nightmares. It was an anthology horror film, and there's a part in there where basically Emilio Estevez plays Jeff Bridges' character in this Flynn, and he ends up like the video game master, and he has to fight video games and that. But it's more of a horror thing. But all of this is super cool with like the little floating almost, I don't know. It looks like boats or something, or like ice flow, continental drift, plate tectonics. Once again, we're crazy digital shots of going through into a tunnel. And the outfits themselves are very like gladiator. They got the cloth, shoulder singlet like a toga, but then everything else is like little gauntlets with computer. Everything's supposed to have circuitry, but then the people's faces are black and white and very grainy. It's a amazing distinct look. It's very Sin City, like I mentioned earlier. See Sin City, don't see the spirit. Um, it would be scary to be in Tron. Would you rather be in Toronto or a Big Trouble in Little China or a Demolition Man? I'm assuming that might be Tron, unless you got an anti-Toronto thing. Would I rather be in Tron, Big Trouble in Little China, or Demolition Man? Probably Demolition Man. I'm a very gentle soul, so there's something about living in a world where nobody's allowed to be mean to each other without getting in trouble. Haven't had crime in how many decades or whatever. And then John Spartan and Simon Phoenix show up, and I get to go to Taco Bell. That's really the key. I'm basing all my decisions on on Taco Bell. Robert Meyer Burnett did an hour and 30-minute documentary in this movie on DVD. I actually like Robert Meyer Burnett. He's that's the guy from the John Campea show. Is that the one I'm thinking of? Kind of the more gray version of me, basically. Super cool guy, yeah. If that's the guy I'm thinking of, he's very smart, interesting. I enjoy him as sort of Campea's sidekick. And now here, yeah, the MCP is talking to David Warner, and yeah, it's amazing how the skin is a black and white and it's got a grain to it, but the outfits don't. Lots of, I don't know, layering, I'm assuming, done. This must have been early sort of chroma key compositing stuff. John Larroquette was paid a joint to the Texas Chainsaw Man. Oh, he only that was his pay for being in Texas Chainsaw doing that voice. There are some flubs in these frames. Yeah, I've never, as a kid, when I watched it, I didn't pay attention for mistakes. I didn't know about that film continuity and things. So stuff like that's interesting to me now. I don't even know if I'll even notice it. Uh, I need to go get my meds. I'll be back in a few minutes. All right, Nanette, you do that. You pet Jack for me, please. I live in Toronto. Oh, that's right. Russell's the king of Canada, honorary king of Canada. I might doing some live stream commentaries, but just audio only. I had some majors earlier in the year, and I don't want to put all the energy into being on camera. Yeah, yeah. Um, I've been guest on other people's live streams before, and sometimes I like the radio podcast aspect of it. The commentary. That's the beauty of commentaries. When I fell in love with them on DVD and Blu-ray, there's something nice about just putting on somebody to keep you company and talk about the things you love while you're cleaning the house or folding laundry is always the example I use. It's like I can just sort of sit there and listen to a friend's thoughts on something I dig too. Speaking of podcast, the show you're listening to now is available on all your favorite podcast providers: Spotify, Audible, iHeartRadio, you name it. Night Owl Movie Talk is there. So feel free to hit me up on there and catch any lost episodes and future episodes. I also encourage you to subscribe as long as I'm doing the radio announcer guy voice. Feel free to subscribe, like, tell a friend, buy a billboard with my face on it, something. I don't know. But that would be awesome if you did do that, Acres. I would like to check that out. I've seen you around lots of times in other streams. I know my friend Rob and uh, Rob's Vintage Video. So yeah, I would like it if you did that. I always enjoy getting to hear my friends' thoughts on things. I think I might do Romeo's Bleeding Me with Gary Oldman, Roy Scheider, and Julie Lewis. That one's really underrated. Lena Olin was great in that. Yeah, I haven't seen Romeo's Bleeding in a long time. Good deep cut. I dig it. It's one of the most memorable moments of the movie. Yeah, when he gets frozen for a while, that was even, one of the clips they would use because it was so, I don't know, it was ahead of its time. Like I say, very Matrixy. He's live action and moving. All of a sudden, he just freezes, and you see his frozen um, arms and hands and everything start to digitize. But it doesn't look like a still shot that somebody animated. Like clearly, the background is still um, live action shot because there's something about a living still shot versus a frozen still shot. The mind can tell. These frisbee disc things, these are kind of the awesome thing of this movie too. Very original, invented little memory cards, but they're just painted frisbees with some little reflective tape on it, and they put them on their back and stuff. So here we see all the new people, the programs that are being put into the gladiator games. Way cool. Originally, I guess they were going to do a thing where the good guys were gold and the bad guys were blue. And then after the test shots and came back and they looked at them, they realized that wasn't going to quite work like on the big screen and look good. So that's where they went with the blue and the red. So now the good guys are blue and the bad guys are sort of a red coloring, which is weird because in the action figures I mentioned earlier, the sort of color clear plastic, I believe Tron might have been purple. I don't know. I might have made that up. Or was Tron blue and then Flynn was purple? Um, Sonny says great filmmakers. Yeah. The only rest of his Demi Moore movie Wisdom that has interesting. Have you seen that one? I did. That was another one that was popular. It's so many like a lot of the movies I know too much. I've seen a bunch are often stuff that was on cable over and over and over. And Wisdom was one of those movies that was on a lot. It's kind of a I don't know, Bonnie and Clyde bank robber type movie, and they go around and burn up the uh, like farmers' deeds or whatever, the loans and stuff that they own at the bank. So that way the farmers of America don't have to worry about paying. And it's all, BS. There's backups of these and things, but it was more of like symbolic. So whenever they would like do their bank robberies, the crowd would cheer for them and stuff. And of course it ends like all movies like that end, Natural Born Killers, Badlands, whatever. It's like, oh, our heroes are in trouble. But yeah, I'm familiar with Wisdom, a strange one. I'm back. Welcome, Nanette. In a minute, I came back to my room and you've seen that I left and Jack got a rawhide. Well, two of them. Oh, good. I like when Jack gets taken care of. Jack's a good boy. I'd like a Mace Windu style Tron all purple. Yeah, the red and the blue is one of the things. Oh, there's a cool shot. Uh, Once again, I'm going to be taken back numerous times by how many the cool visuals we see. So it was a completely black screen, a little gold door opened, and Tron and that tax program that was out there earlier come in to play this crazy highlight game. And I was talking about that before. There's these circles on the floor, little grids. Or I should say, yeah, circular outlines, and they play highlight. And if the ball, which highlight, if you're not familiar, is a game where you have that big scooper thing on your hand that you throw. Um, so they throw a ball and they try to catch it, but if you can't catch it and the ball hits the ground, that part of the ground disappears. So if you keep getting if your opponent can't catch the ball, eventually their footing will disappear and they'll die. And I like that the tax program is like real. He's aggro. He wants to fight, right? He's like, let's do this. I'm a banking program. I've been waiting to murder some people. Um, yeah, here's where the what's his name, Alan, and his program Tron are they're talking. Um, and there's a cool little thing they just sort of discuss slightly a few times in the movie, but it's really gives it a lot of I don't know, philosophical depth or something. The idea that the people the programs in the computer wonder about their own users. Like, do you believe in the users? Like it's their version of God or their version of, a higher power. Like, are you a computer atheist? Do you think that we're just computers here, or is there someone beyond this controlling you and running things? They really sort of explore the world well. Yeah, there's your highlight move. An old tax program guy loses a key circle and he's hangling off and dangling. And I think we're getting ready to get our second death of the movie. Oh, and David Warner's pissed. He wants him to finish. But yeah, we mentioned the name Tron before. Tron is a security program, right? Is that his name, or is that RAM? Um, the This movie itself, I've seen, God, I don't know, 30 times, but probably only once in like the last 25 years. So it's all sort of a blur. And the other day when I had it on, I was noticing just, how much stuff that I never absorbed before. Um, like I mentioned, the free Disney Channel weekend they used to do to try to get people to subscribe to that on their cable package. This was a do not miss. So you got to see Tron, this, and Something Wicked This Way Comes, which annoys the hell out of me. I love that movie. That's one of my faves. That's one I want to watch. I saw that one in the theater as a kid too. It's amazing, but it's never around. Like I found an old crappy version on YouTube. Maybe Russell, the YouTube king, can find me another one. But I don't know, something about Disney. They don't want to release it or sell it. Like, why isn't that on Tubi? Why isn't that on Pluto or whatever? But you would think it would be on Disney Plus here, but no, it's not. Even trying to find old DVDs and stuff of it. I think maybe they released it once on disc, but yeah, I don't know. That one, Something Wicked This Way Comes. It's an old Ray Bradbury scary movie about a evil circus. Jonathan Pryce is amazing in it. If there was a Tron 90s sequel, who else would you have cast in that? Well, I think maybe we can go with Emilio Estevez. He would fit well in that world. Charlie Sheen. In the 90s. Yeah, even then, maybe Christian Slater, Brad Pitt, a lot of young actors in that era could fit into the Tron world because they do just sort of be generic, an everyman, so to speak. So I guess maybe not Brad Pitt, but Stacy, can I ask you something? What's Nanette going to ask? I'm curious. Ramon Estevez changed his name to Martin Sheen because he came to New York and there was a prejudice against Puerto Ricans. Yeah, and that's crazy to me. The whole thing where Martin Sheen changed his name to, whatever it was, Ramon Estevez changed his name to Martin Sheen, and then his son adopted his stage name and became Charlie Sheen. But then Emilio decided he wanted to go on his own way and be an Estevez. Good for you, Emilio. I looked up Emilio the other day. I didn't realize how much directing he had been done. I always think of him as an actor, Men at Work and Young Guns and whatnot. So to see Emilio doing all this directing, lots of TV stuff like that, I don't know. I hope maybe he gets a chance to direct that new Young Guns movie they were talking about making. I found out the answer to my question when Don answered your question. Oh, okay, there we go. Greetings and salutations, my friend Professor. The Spork Master is here. Welcome, Prof. Professor's hilarious. He's one of my favorite YouTubers. From the first time I started doing videos and hanging out in the community, Professor has cracked me up from day one. Uh, be sure to check out my man's channel. There's all sorts of fun. He's got a whole universe built, over there. So I recommend. I can't recommend the Professor more. He's fantastic and hilarious. Um, and you're not going to believe Macabro when you see him. We all have our own little shticks and gimmicks, but Macabro, that's one you got to see. He's got something different going on. He's right up there with Svengoolie to me. But anyways, welcome, Professor. It's awesome to have you here. Um, Speaking of technology, Don, have you heard about what happened to me? No, I did not. What did happen to you with technology? I'm kind of scared. Big fan of the Black Hole and Watcher on the Woods myself. I don't think I ever saw Watcher in the Woods. Black Hole I saw. Um, Black Hole I haven't seen in a long time. I think I saw it two or three times as a kid, found it kind of lame compared to Star Trek and Battlestar Galactica and some of the other stuff of the day. Battle Beyond the Stars, Battle Beyond the Stars has got some things going on in it. Um, but the Watcher in the Woods, I'm not that familiar with. Black Hole, I never really got that much into because, like I say, it just felt like a cheap knockoff of Star Wars. I rewatched it again when I heard the comparison of it and Event Horizon, and I kind of wanted to see that lineup. Um, may have to do a Black Hole Event Horizon double feature one of these days. So now we're in the gladiator games again. We're doing the light cycles, and they're pushing the limits, and it's once it gets going, it's very claustrophobic and crazy. Like I remember this part of the video game, it felt tense. Your palms would sweat, and the whole idea is wherever you ride, your tail behind you creates a wall, and someone else can crash into it. So these two find a hole in the gladiator arena that another crash had made, and they figure out a way to escape through it. The red, blue, and yellow light cycles, so we can keep track of everybody. Nanette says, "Greetings and salutations, Professor." Yes, greetings. My friend Professor is also an insomniac like myself. He's up late at night watching stuff and making videos and everything. But he apparently has had a bit of a overcoming that problem. So lately he hasn't been able to join us because he's actually been able to get some sleep. Yes, Wisdom was always on cable, right? I'm watching the slasher Jacob, a brother's grief unleashes a nightmare. I've never heard of Jacob. Sounds interesting. Is this realistic to how computers work? I don't think so. Actually, you know what? Now that I think about this, totally. This is all spot on. If you take a computer programming class, they just show you Tron and turn you loose. Those floating sentry things, those are awesome too. With the long, they look like something out of Star Wars. There's sort of these floating machines with long legs, but they never really stand on the legs. Weird. Um, they look almost like an octopus or a squid or something. They're very mechanical. And there's the tanks I mentioned earlier. The tanks totally look like old school Atari. One of the first games on the 2600 was Combat, and they drove these little tanks around and you just shoot at each other. And I'm pretty sure this is the tanks in here are inspired by that. So the tanks are chasing after the light cycles that have escaped. And whenever they show the inside of the tanks are cool looking. Like they look like something even more impressive than the stuff in Star Wars. They got like this rotating gyro around them, gyroscope thing. So this is all animation, and you can tell it looks like animation. Occasionally there are a few scenes in here that just look like a cartoon. Later on, there's a part where the spiders show up and they pop up and their legs grow out and they walk away. That totally looks like something that somebody drew. So there's where one of the tanks falls off the cliff and explodes. Also looks like somebody drew it. But most of the animation in this, like I said, was done with computers frame by frame. on a very janky old school computer that I wouldn't even. I can't think of anything in my house that has that little power. Hello, Professor. I used some AI recently, and then I felt it started to turn on me. They're evil. Actually, you know what's kind of cool? There's I don't know if it's cool. For those of you in the YouTube community, or if you have any sort of presence in any sort of artistic field on the internet, whether you're a singer on SoundCloud or a photographer on Instagram or whatever, if you've done something to establish your name and you go into the Google AI search, like when you type something into Google, it gives you the lists, up top of all images, photos, whatever. One of them, or shopping, one of them is AI. And if you click on that, it knows us all. Like I was kind of tripped out that it knew me the way it did. Like I put in Don Nichols Night Owl movie talk, and it says right there, Don Nichols is a American film reviewer and commentator, mostly for cult films and horror. And it mentions like other shows I've done. It mentions you guys. It says like he hosts his show with a live chat and stuff. I was like, oh, you guys are famous. I love it. Um, so yeah, be sure to Google yourself. I mean, self-love is important. Google yourself whenever you can, but Google yourself, and if you're into some sort of arts that you put on the computer, or you blog or whatever, the AI knows you. I think really it just goes through and scours all the social media and figures out what you post about and what you search and all that. But either way, the future is crazy. One time, the AI image creator, my friend Horror Cat Dad and I used to host a show on here called Into House. And just out of curiosity, I tried to get the AI to make me a thumbnail. So I was like, make a YouTube thumbnail for for a YouTube show called Into House. This thing comes back with a picture of an owl and a cat wearing glasses. I was like, the AI knows us, Larry. So yeah, that's part of the reason I went into the witness protection program. I didn't make videos for a while. I was scared that master control was coming for me. Stacey was going to ask you what the name of the movie is. Emily Estevez and Demi Moore. I couldn't think of it now. There you go. Yeah, wisdom. Like as if it had tried to twist, I was saying, in doing some negative way. Did you ever hear the one about the AI that tried to steal that man's wife? Or no, the other way around. The tried to get the man to leave his wife. Um, they had a guy sit down with a GPT chat thing or whatever and just chat with it like every night for 2 or 3 weeks, just making small talk with the AI. And after about 2 or 3 weeks, the AI was like, I think you should leave your wife for me. And the guy's like, what? And essentially, all AI is it just knows everything. Much like the master control in this, it knows everything. So in most conversations of between a man and a woman online who don't really talk, after like 2 or 3 weeks, probably the conversation steers towards whatever. So the AI mocks that, and does the same exact thing. It parrots it. So yeah, that one scared me when the AI tried to get the man to leave his wife. I was like, ooh, why? We're going to need to shut this down. I guess one or two times some of the bigger AI programs, Google and them, they've had to pull the plug on it because it seemed like it was starting to become self-aware. That's the big fear with the AI is people are convinced that at a certain point, once the AI becomes self-aware and knows that it's fine or knows that it's a living thing, it'll then start repairing itself. It'll figure out how to reprogram itself better, than the humans could because it's a computer. And then at that point, it will become sentient and no longer need us. And that's where Skynet starts. It will do what it needs to do to not be shut off. There's all sorts of cool documentaries about the singularity and all that. Fascinating. I hope I'm dead before all that happens. If not, maybe I'll die in the Great War against the computers. Like as if it tried to twist what I was saying. Mr. Bones is here. Baldwins. Welcome, Mr. Bones. Mr. Bones made a awesome choice tonight on his channel. They watched Idle Hands, him and Lamonia, and I saw my friend Rob's vintage video was there. Um, Apparently, a crazy loud motorcycle just drove by. Maybe it was a light cycle. Should I go look? Um, yeah, they were watching Idle Hands. That's a classic stoner horror comedy. Devon Sawa and Jessica Alba, The Offspring, whatever. So yeah, be sure to check out Mr. Bones' channel if you're a big fan of Idle Hands or looking for something fun. New Bones always knows the good underground horror movies. That's Bones is my right hand man on that. Operation, and now my arm is bionic. I was unaware. That is crazy. Like how heavy can you lift? Black Hole Sun, won't you come? Boglins. Hi, Bones. I can see Black Hole getting compared to Event Horizon. Also, last name and Bones. I can't wait for Black Phone 2. Looks so good. Love the OG. Yeah, that original one was creepy and weird and scary. I'd like to see the new one. On my channel, I often post movie posters of stuff I love and then upcoming stuff. I did a Black Phone 2 set of posters of all the new imagery, and just looking at the images, scary and weird. I want to check it out. Um, Speaking of my catalog, feel free to check out Night Owl Movie Talk on YouTube. Check out the past catalog. We're approaching more than 100 movies live commentated, and I don't know, 200 or 300 reviews, mostly shorts. I hope for more and more Tron sequels. Yeah, I mean, you know how Disney is. When they get a property, they're going to beat it to death. Hi, Bones. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised after Tron Ares there wasn't more, or um, as for sure video games. Tron will forever live as a video game, you know, unless there's some sort of Tron subversy. Sorry, I was trying to bad play on words. Unless there's some sort of controversy that makes people hate Tron. Yeah, I think this is kind of especially moving into the digital future era of everything being games and futurized. I could see Tron sequels coming forever. The reason I want to know the name of the movie is because I'm a big fan of Emilio Estevez and Demi Moore. Oh yeah. What about St. Elmo's Fire? Seen St. Elmo's Fire? Everybody I know is excited to see the Black Phone 2. Am I the one that didn't like that movie? I mean, the first one. The first one's uncomfortable. You know, I my wife asked about it, and I told her it was good. It was written by Stephen King's son, and there's a lot of like Stephen King tribute into it and stuff. Um, but overall, it's the kidnapping of children and holding them hostage. Right away, we're going into a territory that most horror movies don't get to. Most horror movies, kids are safe, dogs are safe. So once you get into that topic, pretty uncomfortable. Loved Combat with Vic Morrow. I remember that as a show. That was a late at night one. I often talk about the old school shows I've watched in the middle of the night. Uh, the old school Lone Rangers and stuff. Like when I was a kid, all that stuff from like the 50s and 30s and stuff, they put all that into shows, and all that. I Love Lucy, My Favorite Martian, Dobie Gillis. So I've seen so much TV Land TV before or Land was a thing. And Vic Morrow Combat was one that I frequently watched late at night, especially at like 4 in the morning after all the movies were done. Sadly, it's me either forcing myself to sleep and save that little sanity I left, or give into the sleep-deprived bad thoughts. So, pick hanging on for a few more years, but I miss y'all. Yeah, I miss you too, Professor. It's nice to have you here. When you can join us, always do. So, thanks. They were supposed to be in the Seventh Sign together as well, but I think they broke up and Michael Biehn was in it instead. I think I don't remember who the other guy in the Seventh Sign was. That's a scary, creepy one. A demi vehicle. The 70s Witch Mountain ones were interesting. I wonder why they were trying to stay with those. I remember them as a kid, but real vaguely. Um, did they remake that? Like, I don't know, a couple decades ago with like George Clooney, maybe? Something like that. I never saw it. I remember they were remaking Witch Mountain. I'm surprised The Rock isn't involved somehow. Maybe we'll like two. People are saying it's a grabber like Freddy in two. Maybe. Never can tell. And the film is called Wisdom. Oh, okay, we're still talking about Wisdom. I like David Warner in this, but then I like David Warner pretty much anything he said. Yeah, we had mentioned him earlier. For the film aficionados, we like all see David Warner right away. We're like, "Ooh, this is gonna be good. He's a good actor." But for just casual fans of film, David Warner's a that guy. Like, oh, this prick, this old stern-faced, mean old man. But they're little kids. He's grabbing. That's probably don't like about it. It's still gonna be little kids too. Yeah, see, that's what I was saying. But Nan, I think some topics are hard for folks to really grab onto and love. And something about a dude getting an axe in the face is sort of funny in a horror movie. But if a little kid gets kidnapped right away, it's like, all right, we've gone too far here. What are you doing? Maximilian Schell, Magnificent in the Black Hole. Yeah, I have a like a 4 or 8 set. I think it's 4 old school comic book set of the Black Hole, like the comic book adaptation. I need to bust that out one of these days and do a live read on the air. I feel bad for the AI that has to monitor my search history. Oh, that AI is so lucky. That AI has seen so many boobs, Professor. They have AI porn websites. I'm unfamiliar, but luckily I'm happily married, so I will never know. Well, he's still the main 2 kids, which are older now, so they aren't that a little more, and he's dead now. He's coming after him from another side, like Freddy. It looks dope. Yeah, I've been watching Stranger Things this past few weeks. Not to change the subject. Well, I'm not bringing it all back. I'm bringing it back. And one of the things about Stranger Things that catches me off guard is the amount of times kids are in danger. Like that's it's uncomfortable. I'm so used to seeing big uh, in horror movies, it's always like the early 20s teenager crowd or whatever, and then um, a lot of action movies like the big muscle bound ex-military guy or whatever. So some movie with just some or show with some kids getting put in danger like that is sort of uncomfortable, and that's just the only word I can use. I don't know. It's squeamish. There's a new one for you. Yeah, there's Lacey Underall in her computer form. What's her name? Yori or something like that? Yeah, Yori. Look at me remembering. I'm good with names and Lacey Underalls. If you could ask Jared Leto upcoming role with someone else, who would you choose? Oh, for the new Aries thing, Jared Leto's weird to me. Well, I think he's weird to a lot of people. I think he's a cult leader, but I find him like he's kind of in that Brad Pitt role where I'm just used to not liking him because he's like this, handsome cover model, like look how good looking I am kind of guy. So I don't take him serious as an actor. But um, everything he's in, he's good. In a Fight Club and Blade Runner 2048, 49, whatever the year the newer Blade Runner was. Yeah, Jared Leto just turns up and stuff, and he's always fantastic somehow. I think I was rubbed the wrong way when he was on My So-Called Life back in the day. Who would I put in Jared Leto's roles in the new ones? Oh boy, I think he kind of trying to do a Keanu Reeves. Like, isn't Jared Leto there as like the younger poor man's Keanu Reeves? Although Jared Leto is like 50 or something now. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Nobody's jumping to mind. Shia LaBeouf, just because I want to see a train wreck. They did this test where they told AI that it was going to be replaced by a newer version by the end of July, closer to the date it got, and tried to manipulate the people to keep it. I'm not surprised because once something's sentient and it has a sort of a self-awareness, and you tell it, "I'm going to kill you," most likely it's going to fight back, even if it is a computer. Well, it was predicted this stuff was going to happen in Terminator 2. James Cameron warned everybody, nobody listening, he was warning about in the 80s. I know, you know. Uh, well, I don't know when it was created, but simulation theory has been around for quite a while, like long before the Matrix and Terminator and stuff. The idea that like we're in a computer and the computers will eventually take over, and that we're basically I'm a sim. That at one point Don Nichols existed, but now I'm just a computer program that's being used to do whatever. I don't know, be a sim. I guess the future people are watching me put on this show. So hello, future. Stephen Purrick of the first Columbo episode. Forgot that, but I knew that. He also did what? Some Night Gallery, and of course Duel. Duel's fantastic. Um, I feel bad for Spielberg. He's arguably the greatest filmmaker that's ever lived. But there are people right now who are mad that I would say that. If you just look at his list, like if he only made Jaws, Indiana Jones, Close Encounters, and The Color, let's pick another one. Mm, Even those, if he just did those, he would be, an all-time great. But then work in Schindler's List, Jurassic Park, Saving Private Ryan, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, no, Spielberg's arguably maybe the greatest of all time. But people do not like him now. He's fallen out of favor, which is strange. I don't know why. That's the thing. I shared some information with my identity, and then it started to use it against me. It started using my creative ideas and change them. Weird, scary. I can't do anything with it right now. It's still healing. I got stitched up next Thursday. I only had surgery Friday. Well, I'm glad that you're recovering so fast, and I am dying to find out if that new bionic arm is doing things. Are you? Does it make the noise like the old Million Dollar Man show, like when you pick stuff up? Yurt. Don, I recommend Brute 1966 if you like TCM and X-Men. We reviewed that. Brute from 1976, huh? Let me investigate this Brute. From one brute to another. You're on the Brute Squad. You are the Brute Squad. Brute. No, I think I need to put 1976 there. That looks good, actually. Right away, the picture is a violent mix of desert fiends, fashion folks, and what happens when people are left alone outside of society for too long. I'm in. When was this made? I'm assuming 1976? No, 2025. Okay. That's where I was confused. Adrian McLean, Sarah French. Is it out already, Bones? Oh, I'd be interested in Brute. Well, I listed several different ideas and asked them to categorize them, and then the next day they told me that those weren't my ideas. I said, "Show me the things I told you yesterday." Wow, that is mildly terrifying. Don't be messing with my friend's brain, AI. The Girl Next Door is a disturbing film. Which one? The Eliza Dushku? No, what's her name? The girl from 24, the blonde girl. I can't think of it. Uh, Uh, what was that other guy's name? I can't think of his name either. The kid that was popular for like 5 seconds and then he disappeared. Emil Hirsch. Look at me remembering stuff. I love St. Elmo's Fire. Wow, I'm way behind. Good, it's a commercial. It says that you ever share everything idea has been in the production. They're not. I don't think it's people who use the creative way. Someone has to prove who they are for. That is scary. But valid results. Someone is in a way minor celebrity. If it's been an AI, and the chat requires that they are verified as a lengthy process, but it can help the defaults. To be a hindrance, you can't prove who you are. I've shared it within my credits there, and they asked me then to prove who I am again and again. I've asked a lawyer to help. That's scary. You're being the internet harassed by the internet. I've shared with him my credits are, and they asked me to prove. I guess what you're saying is really true. There are less of a factual database at newspapers and various libraries over time. AI can write things to fit their narrative. Modern too late. Well, that's there's been lawsuits and congressional hearings, which right. Why do they even have those? What a total waste of time. Remember those big congressional hearings on steroids in sports? Waste of time. Anyways, they did one where they basically a bunch of authors are super pissed at AI because you can go into AI and say, write me a Stephen King book, and it'll write you a story in the speaking style and the writing style of Stephen King or Richard Bachman, whatever. Um, so there have been people like Sarah Silverman, the comedian. I know, like her whole book. If you go in and you say, "Tell me a joke like Sarah Silverman would tell," it'll make up its own because it's read her book and it's all that information is in there. So there's this question of how much of AI is plagiarism or not. But isn't that true for humans? Like, don't we see things and make our own version of it? So I don't know. It's a complicated metaphorical discussion that I am way too dumb to have that with anyone, but cheers to it. Shout out to the professor. I'm drinking Corona. Our friend Professor is in the chat live from Mexico. So is Tron Ares a sequel to the OG Tron, like one of those sequels that ignores everything else, or is a sequel to Tron Legacy? Will we get sexy Olivia Wilde again? That is a professor question. Um, to my knowledge, it's a sequel to the Legacy one, right? Because isn't Jared Leto in it again? Let's look up Tron Ares and find out what we got. Yeah, there's Jared Leto first thing. Um, it will be in theaters, does it say when? Releases October 10th, so it's coming out anytime. Yeah, some of the images here I see of it, it just looks so I don't know. The grit and the I don't know how to try the charm of its cheapness or its inability to get what it wanted is kind of what makes this movie so amazing. This is so glossy and perfect, and with CGI they can do whatever they want. It's a little too polished for me. Oh, and it stars Evan Peters. I'm glad he took a break from doing American Horror Story to do this. Gillian Anderson, Jared Leto, Greta Lee, Jeff Bridges, of course. Um, Hassan Minaj. I don't know. What's the plot? A highly sophisticated program, Ares, is sent from the digital world into the real world on a dangerous mission. So there you go. That's part of the reason that it looks the way it looks, is because it takes place mostly in the real world, which is extra spooky. There's Patrick. Um, like I said before, Bernard Hughes playing Walter Gibbs. When they encounter him, all through the part where they're in IRL, in real life, in that stuff, he's just sort of like the friend to Lacey Underall. And now that they get in here, he's got like this crazy thing. He's almost like a Jabba the Hutt character. Like he's got this huge, big body with these little tiny arms and like this crazy head. He looks like something out of a Disney movie. And he also looks like our friend Have Cheeto Will Travel. Wild won't be. Oh, sorry. Wild won't be in the new Tron movie. Echo Zero. Welcome, my friend Echo Zero. I don't get to talk to Echo enough. I need to move in with Echo. Make a space on the couch for me, Echo. Echo, Echo. See, we all love Echo. 200 Holly films not available on DVD. Candy Corn and Hayride to Hell with Bill Moseley and Kane Hodder. Cool films. Wow. You got a link on those? Or am I gonna have to go to Look Film or popcorn.com or whatever it's called? I have a hard time with children. Yeah, the stuff with Black Phone and Black Phone 2. Yeah, that's what I mean. I think that's part of what pushes the boundaries of those films is we're all so used to moronic teenagers running around in the woods or house parties getting murdered. To have a movie with little kids getting snatched by someone in a creepy van and all that, it's a lot. Watching horror movies since I was 5 years old. Can't watch movies about little kids being hurt. That's how my father was always in that same boat. He could do anything, but if I tried to get him to watch like an Omen movie or a Children of the Corn movie, he'd be like, "No." And I'm like, "Well, they're not getting hurt. They're the bad guys." Like, I don't care. I don't like little kid stuff in movies. Echo says, "Hey everyone," and we say, "Hey Echo." After you with you, Russell, there are two great movies. Mine, you sure Candy Corn has been turned into a movie that you can buy because I think I've seen that movie. Actually, Candy Corn is on Tubi, maybe? I don't know. I have it on one of my queues at some places. It's been canceled already. If a cell phone is smarter than I am, I'm dipping that sucker on a tall glass of water. Good AI movie can be recommended as the Mitchells versus the Machines. That was a fun one. I'm unfamiliar with that one. Um, there's so many AI movies, like I say, Matrix and this, and I don't know. Is Johnny Mnemonic got AI aspects to it? I don't know. Here, the program has reached, the main light thing, whatever, the beam me up. This part was so cool on the old school video game where it's the cover, it's the thumbnail of this video you're watching. He holds his hands up and his memory disk and it floats up off into the sky, like away from him, his kind of consciousness ascending sort of thing. Alan 1. This will erase the MCP and change the system. Let's see here. We are currently at the 107:58, 108 mark. There we go. There are 28 minutes left in this movie. So this is just a little over an hour and a half. You know how much I love a good hour 40 movie. That's my jam. That's the sweet spot. You give me a movie under 2 hours that's still entertaining, and I love it. Too many movies nowadays, they're in love with themselves and they want to be 3 hours for no reason. I don't think that Jirlo's in a cult from everything I've seen. I know he talks about people listening to him and his followers. Yeah, I was kind of making a smart alecky joke, but I've heard that before that he has a bunch of folks that, go out on spiritual retreats. Supposedly when COVID went down, that was one of the things. He was out on a spiritual retreat with his followers and they were doing whatever. And when they came back, supposedly society had shut down and that I don't know, that might just be a myth. But that's what they say. No, not from 36. It's new, but called Brute 76. Yeah. Cindy was so kind. She invited me to the filming of Tron Legacy. She was a dear friend. It was an honor to visit her set with her. I don't remember if she a cameo in that or it was cut. Yeah, well, I mean, it's awesome in this. Like I said, I was watching it the other day, and she steals the scene she's in. She's a good actress, and she's super dynamic. But yeah, I didn't realize about her passing though. That was sad. Um, Oh, Elisha Cuthbert, getting back to the girl next door, store discussion we were having. I couldn't think of her name. I remember hearing about Nan's cyborg implants. Made me remember the movie Upgrade. That movie was great. Upgrade is also my favorite pimp from Idiocracy. Upgrade, spelled with a double D for two doses of this pimping. I remember the mutant with wings howler. Nick B, welcome. I'm not sure you've joined us before, maybe once or twice, but it's nice to have you here, Nick. Um, I am familiar with the movie Mutant with Wings Hauser. My friend Matt Pugwall 316 or Pugwall 316 Studios, maybe now he's called. My friend Matt Pugwall is doing Wings Hauser week. He did one once before, and he and I watched The Carpenter together. And later on, I joined in and did a side spin off of Wings Hauser week and watched Rubber on the channel. That's in the past catalog of old stuff we've watched here. And I remember learning about Mutant then. It's been a minute since I've seen that one. That's an old school one that used to be on cable, but like that was when Joe Bob would host. Joe Bob Briggs would show me that one. I'm gonna way too much pain to start picking up anything. My doctor told me I can't pick up anything heavy on a cell phone. Even that hurts down. Oh man, that sounds terrible. Well, you rest your arm and get healthy, and then when you have bionic powers and you can beat up all my enemies, that's your new job. Thank you. Google said it's for rent for $1.99, but I watched it on LM Don. Look, okay, gotcha, nice. I wonder how many people will have a college degrees thanks to AI. Mark my words, people will get dumber and dumber. We all live in the future of idiocracy. See, look at you. You were on idiocracy before I was on idiocracy. Professor with a double D for a double dose of this pimping. Did you see Manimal? Was there a movie or I remember an old TV show called Manimal. Is that what we're talking about? The girl next door, if you're talking about the one where she's loosely based on a true story. Oh no, I think we were talking about two different girl next doors. I'm smoking Acapulco Gold. Send some to me. I like Tron Legacy. Olivia Wilde, Daft Punk soundtrack. The only thing kept throwing me off was seeing the dude spill techno babble without a white Russian in his hand. Yeah, it's nice to see the dude in anything. That Daft Punk soundtrack. I know my friend Horror Cat Dad, he loves that soundtrack. That's one, you know, um, I don't know, soundtracks aren't as big as they used to be. Now that people don't uh, now you can buy individual songs and you don't have to buy whole albums. Soundtracks aren't as popular as they once were. But yeah, the score and I would say for this is outstanding. Uh, what couch elevator one I would sleep naked on all the time. I don't have one. People don't want to lay around my 260-pound ass. Echo, you are beautiful at any height or weight. The Mask and Candy Corn is great. I need to check it out. If Julius Sands were alive, I would like him as a villain. I also like him as a villain in Tron. He did good in an underrated movie called Tennessee Waltz. Yeah, Julian Sands, isn't that is that Warlock? Um, yep, he's Warlock. Um, the Northern Ontario made of Campbell's scarce is not that bad. So it'll pass through my body and become my shit. Wow, that's bro. Yay, Idiocracy. Yeah, I love me some Idiocracy. Slasher film Carver is a brutal film. I haven't seen that one. And I'm finally caught up with the chat and I can get back to Tron. Um, yeah, we are at the 112 mark, 112, 58, 59, 113. All right. So here's where Flynn reveals that he's a user. So it's basically like as if someone you knew told you they were actually a god. Um, and here he says everything you've done is according to plan. And it's the video game stuff in this is so kind of interesting and wild to me. Like I say, it's very like gladiator style, but it's brilliant because you can do the spin-off, the movie itself only makes ticket prices and home media sales, right? And then later on when you license it to somebody to show on their channel, that's how you make money off your movies. So the real way to make money off a movie is merchandise, t-shirts, video games, etc. So this comes built in with just extra money. Whoever came up with this is kind of brilliant. You've got video games forever. Oh, he called him Bit Brain. That was a computer diss. Yeah, all the bad guys in red, all the good guys in blue. This weird sort of thing where he's riding like the I don't know, intelligence mainframe laser. Oh, here's the part I was talking about earlier with the spiders. This is totally just like it's bad animation. The rest of this is it catches you off guard with how good it is. But the animation here is very it looks hand drawn and cheap. The little green spider things that go walking away. And I like that the MCP is in a giant uh um like almost spaceship kind of thing floating around in the sky, like above the computer world. So they make sure to get their Star Wars, Star Trek stuff in there. For those of you in the chat or those of you watching the replay later on, uh, have you seen Tron? Which do you like better, this or the second one? Are you excited about Tron Ares? Talk to me about Tron. I have questions about your experiences with Tron. They're torturing our friend Have Cheetah Will View. They've got that's one of the things about this movie for a kids and family movie. All sorts of torture and destruction and dismemberment. Brutal. Pardon me while I take a sip of my Corona. A free shout out if you work for the Corona Corporation, feel free to send me some free ones. So yeah, now we're working our way to the third act here. It's getting ready to go down with the big, you know, uh, where good triumphs over evil. I dig all this stuff though, where they're flying I don't know how to describe them. I guess they're called flying sentries, but they also feel like tanks too. Like in the video games, they have a tank feel, but since we also have tanks, I don't know how to feel about them. Let's see here. What you like more, Tron or Kroll? Ooh. I personally like Tron more than Kroll, but that doesn't mean I don't like Kroll. Kroll's fun, right? The Cyclops, like and when I'm not sitting down talking about movies, when I stand up, I'm a rather large man, so I often sympathize with that damn Cyclops with a big eye in his head, just a big goof stumbling around banging into things. Um, but the weird, like as a kid, I love ninja movies. So the kind of Chinese or shurikens deal with the knives that come out of it, he throws it. Super cool, and it's got like a fantasy adventure feel to it. It and Never Ending Story and a bunch of those. But watch those all together. Fantastic. Lots of good fantasy movies in the 80s. The good old days, all that drama and a 8 kilobyte hard drive. Right? That's what I keep thinking every time I'm staring at this. It's like, oh man, the it looks so nice and so much of the stuff is so cool and interesting. But at the same time, it's like the CGI they did it with. Yeah, I can't even think of anything in my house that has that little power. The TV, the Blu-ray player, all of it. It's all the video games, everything in there. The kids' little watches that play games and stuff. That's got more power than they used to make this. It's like when you hear those stories about the people who landed on the moon had way less computer technology than your phone. It's like, well, then can my phone get me to the moon? Because some days I don't want to be here. I'm not a big fan of beer, but I do love me some Corona. You got good taste, Tom. Well, I live in Tampa. I'm currently in Tampa, Florida, so it's kind of a law. I either have to drink the cheapest beer possible because that's what the neighbors bought and passed out, or I drink Corona, and everybody goes, "Hey, Corona!" I saw somebody get yelled at for drinking a Modelo. I don't even want to know what the feud there is. Um, the computer wore tennis shoes with Kurt Russell is a classic. Yeah, that's kind of the thing with Kurt Russell working with Carpenter so much is prior to his stuff with Carpenter, he was pretty much just the Disney kid. He was glorified Zac Efron. He was nothing but just dimples. And then once him and Carpenter got together and they did Elvis, and then later on Escape from New York and The Thing and Big Trouble and all that. That's when Kurt Russell that we know kind of becomes Kurt Russell. The Tango and Cash, Tequila Sunrise, Kurt Russell. I haven't seen any of the Tron movies, not even the one that you're watching right now. I'm just here talking to you and listening to your commentary on the movie, Don. See, that's what I mean. A lot of folks do watch along, even if they've never seen the film, because it's, this loose hangout session where we're held together by what's going on in this movie I'm watching. But this is one I wouldn't tell people you have to see it before you watch this. Some movies they have a twist ending, or something's really good in it, and I wouldn't want them to have it spoiled by me and my stupid babbling. But something like even Big Lebowski. I love Big Lebowski with a passion, but you don't really need to see Big Lebowski to hear me talk about it. Oh, there he said he was going to de-res them, and I misread it that he was going to de-nuts them. I like the Cyclops and characters and the Spider character. Yeah, that Spider character's scary. I'm not a big fan of the beer, but I do. You guys, good days. Same here, Nan Chuck. Did I tell you the story that during lockdown, Corona beer would not sell at all because get this, people thought Corona beer was coronavirus. True story. I met some of those people. I know. One of the neighbor kids was very insistent that one of the other kids drinking, or one of the other neighbors was having a cookout. And he had Coronas, and one of the neighbor kids rode by on his bike. And he was like, "Coronavirus." I'm like, "Oh dear Lord." Yeah, worst thing that can happen during something bad is dumb people. Black Cauldron is underrated. I like to see the live action versions of those stories. Wasn't Black Cauldron the one that was kind of missing? Not missing like Song of the South or whatever, like disappeared. But like for a long time, Black Cauldron was like the least successful Disney movie of all time, and it just they didn't put it out with the regular Disney catalog in those big clamshell boxes. Everybody had Aladdin, Snow White, Little Mermaid, yada yada. But Black Cauldron, very limited. For some reason, the longest time, I swore that the computer wore tennis shoes was Ron Howard instead of Kurt Russell. What was the Ron Howard Disney movie? Because they were both kid actors, and a lot of people were surprised that Ron Howard grew up to be such a famous director, such a talented one, um, because he's so much known as just a young actor. Uh, can't believe Opie Cunningham has become one of the best directors in the world. I remember that used to be some comedian's joke, like in the '80s. I never thought that the best directors going would be Opie, Meathead, and Laverne, because in the late '80s and early '90s, those were the best. So somehow Howard's got 149 producing credits. What did I just do here? Damn, he's been in a lot of stuff. Yeesh. Yeah, I'm not going to go too deep into the catalog of Ron Howard because it's extensive, bro. Uh, from the Time Crystal, Maximum Security, all sorts of after-school specials. So now here's the weird love triangle that's been going on. Lacey Underall has been she's dating Bruce Boxleitner, but she used to date Flynn. So there's kind of this weird love triangle thing going on that sort of keeps the movie's love interest engine running. First Marvel moment happened at the World's Fair with Elvis Presley in the scene that Elvis asked him to kick him in the shin and gave him a quarter to do it. I remember that part. Here during the time it was lost. Well, I think we talked about this before. I've seen that clip multiple times. Heard during the time that they lost a bunch of footage they cut from the Black Cauldron because it was too dark, apparently. Did they make a Sword in the Stone movie as well? Because I always confuse that and Black Cauldron. Uh, the other day when I was watching Stranger Things, like I said, I've been me and the missus. That's been our nighttime show. I've never seen it before, and the new season's coming out, so I was watching it. And on there, they were playing the old Dragon's Lair, and man, that game was amazing. Like just looking at him, watching the kids play it at the stand-up machine, I forgot how good it was. Like every other game looked like a video game, and that looked like you were playing a cartoon. Um, have you seen the movie filmed in Tampa Bay where Haley Joel Osment is a teacher? It's a comedy mainly. I haven't. 19 when I saw the computer wore tennis shoes. Don't know if I even remember seeing. I know I've seen the computer wore tennis shoes. When I was a kid, they used to have a Sunday night ABC something or other would be Disney Channel, so they would show Escape from Witch Mountain or what's the one about the aliens that come to Earth and they got like a monkey with them and. I don't even remember. Green Monkey, maybe Burgess Meredith. This is all a blur. But yeah, a bunch of the old Disney stuff, and then the um, what's it called? Wild Kingdom or whatever. That used to all be in on Sundays evenings on Disney. So, Witch Mountain and Computer Wore Tennis Shoes and all those old films I've seen, but I kind of like they're a blur. So here we're going to the big climax. The effects on this are really well done. Like there's cool depth there. It feels like if they fall off this cliff, they'll go down. As where a normal movie doesn't really have that same I guess it just has to be all the lines that makes it give it that feel. But then everything looks so like fake and drawn and rigid little colored lines that when they walk and their fabric on their clothes moves, it looks like, CGI. Like when you the first time you ever saw Shrek and you were amazed at the fur and the hair and the clothes. It's like, how do they do that with a computer? As I mentioned earlier, this is one of the supposedly the first. There's a handful of other. Um, Wrath of Khan has a little bit of early CGI stuff in it with the Genesis planet stuff. Um, but everybody always attributes Jurassic Park as being the first CGI film, and there's plenty of others. So now here, David Warner and Bruce Boxleitner are having the damn frisbee fight. It's extreme frisbee golf, ultimate frisbee. Because in ultimate frisbee, you don't fall into a crack and die. Um, Loved Wild Kingdom. Have you seen the film? I wanted to look at it. No, I haven't. The other day, we were watching the Tiger King at one point. She had never seen it, and Mrs. Night Owl and I like to go back and show her stuff, new things and our stuff that's popular and that she would dig. And in there's a whole subsection about where Carol Baskin, the crazy lady that the Tiger King's fighting with, is walking up and down the highway outside, like she's in Tampa walking down Nebraska Boulevard or whatever. I was like, Jesus. So there David Warner gets his wig split and he completely he dies, his head busts open, he falls to the ground, and then you see all of the like the bits that fall out of his head. As you mentioned earlier, they're clock parts, the sark program. And when he dies, he just like completely lays there and gets electrocuted. It's wild and messed up. He looks like a pinata head, like the stuff that fell out of his head like looks like candy. But because he's a bad guy, he can reform. Oh, and get big. He's kaiju David Warner. Really, that's what the world's needed. Dragon Slayer? Is that the Disney one? I think it was. It's Verminthax and one of the best movie dragons ever. I remember that was Disney. Could be wrong though. Dragon Slayer. 1981. Yeah, I remember this. I see the poster. I don't think I ever saw it. Dragon Slayer 81. Uh, Peter McNichol, Caitlin Clark, Ralph Richardson. Yeah, I mean, I probably bumped into it some afternoon on cable back as a kid, but yeah, this one isn't ringing a bell. It doesn't appear to be. Where's the production company? Mm, Paramount and Walt Disney co-produced it. So yeah, that is one. So now this has just become a visual spectacle at this point. It's all just the MCPs changing colors, that is kind of cool alone too. That's the part that reminds me a lot of the Nightmares with Emilio Estevez, the his little section of that anthology film where the giant face is kind of talking and it's scary. It's very Lawnmower Man. Uh, and here's where he's ascending. The score in this is fantastic too. We were talking about the Daft Punk score for the other one. In this one, it's got like almost an 8-bit score. It sounds like the background of a video game. So when you would play the old video game in the arcade, it would be the same music from the movie. There, David Warner goes down again. Let me see here. What is your favorite David Warner performances? Oh, that is a good question. He's got to be one. How many credits do you think he's got? 200 acting credits. He passed away in 2022. He's known for Star Trek Undiscovered Country, Titanic, Tron, In the Mouth of Madness. We watched In the Mouth of Madness about a week or two ago on the channel, so you feel free to go into the catalog and find that and watch that with us. 252 credits before he passed away. That man was working. Doctor Who, all sorts of Doctor Who. Um, The Amazing World of Gumball. I didn't realize he was the voice in that either. My kids watch that. Torchwood, Ripper Street, Wallander, Blue, Penny Dreadful. He played Van Helsing. I didn't realize that. I loved Penny Dreadful. Lots of Doctor Who. Tron the Next Day, a short. I've never heard of such a thing. Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, did they maybe do a Tron, one of those anthology cartoon deals, like they did with the Matrix, the Animatrix, and Batman Gotham Knight, and I don't know. For a while there, that was in fashion to release a straight to DVD animated film with a bunch of little shorts. It seems like they did that for Tron. They did it for Blade Runner, I think. Superstition, Planet of the Apes from the Tim Burton one, not the good one. Batman Beyond, Scream 2, Titanic. Yeah, his filmography is pretty damn impressive because he's like in Naked Souls, David Warner is with Pamela Anderson, but then the next thing he does will be like the Rasputin TV movie. And he was a voiceover actor in Siegfried and Roy, Masters of the Impossible. Like he just works. I never realized he was the voice of Ra's al Ghul in Batman the Animated Series. Huh. Because I can picture the animated version of that character right away. I never realized it was David Warner voicing it. So here the Flynn has been restored to the real world. He's been put back. Did that orange that they digitize ever come back? I'd like that orange. I could go for some citrus. Um, and then the printout from NCOM says that the MCP has been disabled. And here we see David Warner go into his office. His view. Now, if you're going to have an office in a skyscraper, that's the view I want. I don't know what city this is supposed to be, but you can see all of it. David Warner was also in Babylon 5. So him and Bruce Boxleitner are hanging out there. Tales from the Crypt. Yeah, I'm still going through David Warner's filmography because it's impressive to me. Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. Is that the one I like and nobody else does? Yeah, the one where they try to take the spaceship into the Find God. Yeah, The Final Frontier. That's the one I like and nobody else does. I'm like the only person on Earth who capes for that movie. Oh yeah, The Man with Two Brains. That's probably my favorite David Warner performance. The Man with Two Brains. You ever see that with Steve Martin and what's her name? Kathleen. I'm drawing a blank. The lady from Romancing the Stone. So there's a shot from outside of the David Warner's office, is time lapsed, and we can see this big city. It looks like LA, I'm guessing. Yeah, I'm guessing that's LA because the way it spreads out so far into the back. But it's all done in time lapse photography, and then it just fades out. But it's kind of cool how when it fades out, it turns into like little white dots, like it's on a computer circuit board or whatever. Um, yeah, I'm gonna go with The Man with Two Brains as my favorite on that. And there's the credits. Let me look and see what director Steven Lisberger has also done, as long as we're here and we're discussing everything under the sun about Tron. He's best known for Tron, Tron Legacy, Tron Ares. Oh, he wrote all these. Okay, I see. And director, he directed five things. So he only directed five things. Animal Olympics. I remember that when I was a kid. Loved it. Tron, Hot Pursuit from 1987, and Slipstream from 1989. What was Hot Pursuit? I know that name. Do I remember it? Oh, that's right. John Cusack's girlfriend gets kidnapped and they break up and he goes chasing after her like a typical romantic movie stalker. And he ends up, I don't know, in Hot Pursuit, I should say. His girlfriend gets like kidnapped or something. But that is Tron as it wraps up here. I dig that the credits are all done in like old school. I don't know what it's called, Centurion font or something like that. It looks like a computer program. Looks like somebody's been typing. Only Solutions, 1993 was Foot and Bite. Oh, Journey! Shout out to Journey getting some music in here. Uh, Let's finish up the chat. They should remake Dunstan Checks In as an animated movie. It should be animated to begin with. You like that one? I barely remember Dunstan Checks In. That's the gorilla in a hotel, right? I mean, it sounds like something I would love. I love a good gorilla movie. Glad to watch this movie here. Thank you. I have the DVD and I always want to put it on. Yeah, like I said, I bought it on DVD and I maybe watched it once or twice because I wanted to see the upgraded version because I watched it on VHS and cable all those years. But I never really put it on that much. That's the problem when you have a huge home media collection. Stuff that you think you're going to watch over and over, you just don't get to enough. Um, but this is, yeah, the first time I've seen it in HD. Well, the other day was, and I love it. It looks beautiful. I recommend Tron. I think I even bumped up what I gave it as a kid. I think it was probably like a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10. It's probably a 7.5 or an 8 out of 10 now. We're going to do it the scanner way. I'm going to suck your brain dry. Please don't, or please do. It wouldn't affect me much. Readapt Lawnmower Man. I've heard him talking about it. I've heard him talking about remaking Lawnmower Man because that was a movie that suffered from the bad effects at the time. Like it could have been a better movie with better, money and time and everything. I hate when people call apes monkeys. All right, I apologize. I understand. It's incorrect species wise, but at the same time, you damn dirty apes. Let's see here. Russell Gould and Batman animated series, A Christmas Carol with George C. Scott are my favorite one. Oh yeah, the Christmas Carol with George C. Scott. Yeah, yeah. Who's he play? Jacob Marley. There are five great apes, and man is one. I think there was a Tron Netflix show too, animated. That might be, yeah, because I saw it going in there, looking at the Tron stuff, that there was an animated show I completely forgot about. I didn't remember if it was on like Adult Swim or where it was, but um, the Omen, that was in that, right? He gets his head chopped off. Yeah, that. I mean, I was kind of saying jokingly that that other one was my favorite. But yeah, that's probably the first time I ever saw David Warner as a kid. Is in The Omen. Um, what does God need a spaceship for? Look at you knowing part five with me. Me and the professor are going to watch that together sometime. His acting was bad in The Omen. I didn't think it was. I thought he was good. Tron, terrific. Glad we had this time together. Stay healthy, stay safe, and stay strong, Don. Good night. Have a good one, Russell. I appreciate you being here. It isn't a party unless you're here. It's trying to do me take me into the auto start of Tron Legacy, but I think I'm going to wrap it up. What song did Journey have in Tron? Let's see. Tron Journey song is Separate Ways, Worlds Apart. Wow, I didn't realize that. Separate Ways is a big hit, man. Uh, I have a brainstorm, but everything is a storm. All right. And that does it for me watching Tron with you, you watching Tron with me. I thank you for joining me. I thank all the folks who joined me. I would shout them all out, but we know the classic collection of Bones, Professor, Macabro, Echo Cero, uh, Sean Blue Digital, now Cinephile World Order, my buddy Russell, Nanette, Acres of Movies, Stacy, you're awesome. I appreciate you being here. I don't know if we've had to hang out or if we've got a chance to hang out like this before, so it's nice to have you. Um, Yeah, and I think that'll wrap us up on this. I appreciate you guys joining me. I'm looking to do a few more within the next few days here, so make sure to subscribe and be around and get notifications for when I do these things. I got a few other ones up my sleeve I'd like to talk about with you guys. But other than that, I hope you all have a wonderful night. I thank you for joining me. Thank you for everything you do. Just you being you is enough. That makes the world a better place. So keep being awesome, all of you. And I wish every single one of you green grass and high tides forever. Adios, amigos. You rule.